Hello, and thank you for tuning into the Stuff I Heard podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Peak, and we were just discussing how toilets magically clean
No,
themselves.
they do not. And boy, you just jumped right in on that one. I didn't even have a chance to hardly get my headphones on.
Listen, every time I
Ready,
look at it, it's
set, go.
clean. I'm like, wow, it cleans itself. That's amazing. It's just
Yeah.
like magic.
Anyway,
Anyway, um, we are done with Christmas,
yeah,
sort of,
sort of.
mostly.
We still got one. Well, we've got New Year's, of course.
We got New Year's. We're still looking at Christmas decorations, and if you can see behind me on YouTube here, there's still boxes and stuff
Hey,
that
there's
we
not
got to
as
clean
many
up.
boxes as there
We
was,
did get rid of a lot of boxes, and
and I
there's
still
still
got. I'm going to get rid of some more.
there's going to be a purge.
Yes,
We're
there is.
gonna we're gonna have a special lighting for the room and make a sound, and all these boxes are going.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, I wonder if we should take them and just have them recycled, or if we should dump them, or if we should take them and put them on the burn pile at Shaw's.
I have no idea.
Huh. Probably bad for the environment if we burn them.
Yeah, more. Yeah, I don't know. I
Okay.
don't know.
For podcast reasons, we're not going to burn them,
I've got to get rid of some boxes.
but they're probably going to be gotten rid of. So there's that.
But here's a question.
Okay.
When do you take down the Christmas? I know when I take my Christmas decorations down. Does everybody?
January 1st.
No,
A
no.
lot of people do.
Oh, everybody's different. I just want. I mean,
I talked to some people. They said they wait till Groundhog Day.
no.
Yeah,
Seriously?
Yeah.
When is Groundhog Day? That's not
it's
until
like the 2nd of February.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
My
They
decorations.
put
are
on
not-
Bill Murray, and then they take down the Christmas tree together.
Who are these people?
Just people. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's a very scientific study I did.
No, I have never taken my Christmas decorations down before the New Year.
You'd want it down before a Super Bowl, right?
Oh, most definitely.
Am
Super
I
Bowl.
allowed to say Super Bowl? The big
Oh,
game. The big game.
But isn't that game later now than it used to be?
Yeah,
Because it's not until sometime in February, right?
I guess.
Are they in the playoffs?
Playoffs. No, I think the regular season still.
Oh, okay.
I think they're getting
I
close.
have no idea how I got sidetracked.
They're getting
Anyway,
close to the playoffs.
Christmas decorations will probably start coming down next weekend. We've still got New Year's.
So this coming weekend or the weekend after that weekend?
No, this coming weekend. Today is Sunday. What is the date?
For the
Yeah, that's the date.
it's the 29th.
Today's the 29th. Okay,
Yeah.
so New Year's Eve is Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay.
We don't usually have big New Year's Eve plans. We're too old for that.
Right. We already saw fireworks.
We did fireworks at my mom's house, at my parents' house last night, yesterday evening with my
Thanks to Dallas and
Yep.
Charles
with some of the
and
grandchildren.
Landry.
It had a good time doing that. And we drove down. We actually we made the decision because of sitting in traffic last year for hours upon hours
Yeah.
that we would not leave here. We left here yesterday morning at, I want to say like 5.
We pulled out of the garage at 5:16.
And it poured down rain on us. We were not expecting that.
Yeah.
But luckily we were already, the traffic wasn't super heavy.
Luckily, traffic was okay. We didn't
Yep.
see any major wrecks along the way. There was
We did not get stopped
a
in
couple of
traffic.
vehicles off the sides of the roads where you can tell that they had brake checked, bumped into somebody, and then drifted off the side. We got lucky.
Which we did. We made the decision to
Yeah.
drive super early. I would much prefer. It's
Yeah.
the older I'm getting and the harder it's getting to drive on 95 now. My parents live 4 hours south of here in South Georgia,
And the traffic is awful.
and the traffic over the years has only gotten worse.
For some reason, people keep going south.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Well, there's also a lot of bowl games in Florida. We talked
Yeah.
about that last year, but last year we had
And Disney, this is their most popular time of the year.
right. Last year we had a couple trips down to Georgia during the holidays that normally takes us about 4 hours, 4.5 usually max, because we don't spend a lot of time stopping. We've got it pretty much timed now where we can stop one time, use the restroom, grab something to eat if it's a meal time,
Yeah.
and get back on the road.
Yeah.
But the last couple times last year, we had a couple times where it took us 6+ hours to make a 4-hour trip.
Yeah, which
So
is not fun.
no, this year we made the decision and to me, it works best for us. A lot of people say, how do you get up so early in the morning? I mean, it's not that I want to, but it just works better. It's
Weird how
either,
when you make yourself do something, you just do it.
well, I mean, yesterday morning we got up at 5. That's only 30 minutes earlier than we get up for our normal work day. We were on the road by 5:15. We had everything done the evening before.
I got up at 5. You dusted off the alarm clock after you were
Yeah, I actually got up at like 10 minutes till 5. But anyway,
you were
we
excited. You couldn't wait. You're
we
like, I
made
gotta
we
get up.
made it. We did not have to stop one time as far. I think we stopped and ran into the restroom and come right back, right?
Yeah.
We did not get stopped in traffic. And so I would much rather do it that way. We spent the whole day at mama's, with my parents, with some of my siblings. We had a great time. We had a good meal.
And
We
then we didn't sleep hardly at all.
and then we played games. We usually, as a family, play some games and have a good time doing that. And then,
Speaking of games,
yep,
we got to play some games, some new games. We played a cute little game with some magnets that was pretty cool.
yep.
Landry had a little game with these magnets in a string, and you put them in this circle, and they're not supposed to like touch.
We
Or,
actually had so much fun with that game. It's very cheap. It's under $10 on
yeah,
Amazon, and we purchased one of them.
yeah, because they're
So
like, this would be fun with the grandkids.
yeah,
Let's get one.
so we
Yeah,
bought one of those
it's
games.
called Magnetic. It's a neat little game.
Check it
It's
out on
very
Amazon.
simple, and the cleanup is super easy because everything
Yes,
sticks together because they're magnets.
it is a really cool
Yeah.
little game. And we
We played left, right, center, and I won for the first time ever.
Yeah.
I mean, geez, we've been playing this thing for years, and I'll have so many quarters, I'm ready to win, and then I'll lose, and I'm like, oh, it happens every time, and I finally won.
Left, right, center has become a game that we play every year at my parents' house. It's a lot of fun. We usually have a table full when we play that game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, a lot of fun. Midnight going to bed last night, and then at 4:16 this morning, I woke up and I don't know. I knew that it was going to rain all day today, and I was like, I would rather just get on the road and get on back here, and we did. We were home. We were home and laying down for a nap. Now that's the cool thing about getting up so early.
Yeah.
You get up super early, drive
I'm
on
glad
home.
you drove because I was too tired to drive.
It was rough trying to stay awake. I had to listen to you. I had to keep you awake by listening to you talk about what were we talking about? Orbs and aliens and drones and
Yeah.
stuff that I don't normally find interesting. And my main reason today was just to keep you awake.
Now, see, you fooled me because I thought you're generally interested in anything that I had any interest in. So, yeah,
Oh my gosh, did I just burst your bubble?
yeah. Just proof, guys, that women can fake it, even interest.
So we actually got home before the rain. Thank goodness. We were able to take a little bit of a nap, and
Yes,
now we're washing clothes.
that was a glorious nap. That was the best thing that happened. I'll tell you what, when I laid down, that was it.
Oh yeah, you were out within 2 seconds.
I was like time traveling. I woke up and I could tell you were gone. Because I woke up and I guess I was facing your way, and I was like, she's not on her pillow.
You napped for almost 2
I was
hours.
like,
I did
like,
not.
what time is it?
I might have napped for maybe 45
And
minutes.
it's a rainy, dreary day outside, and it's a little chilly, and with it being cloud covered and all that, it's kind of dark in the room, and we got that sound app, and I was just sitting there thinking, I could just keep sleeping. This would be great. I bet you'd let me sleep, but I was like, no, we got to get up. There's things to do. We gotta get the house back in order. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, so now we're in the process of getting back into getting everything done, clothes washed, ready for the week. I actually work every day this coming week, except for Wednesday.
You are a go-getter.
You're off tomorrow, right?
I'm off tomorrow.
You're off tomorrow.
Tomorrow I don't technically have to do anything.
I was going to say, I think this is the first day of
the first day
of the vacation time that you took at the end of the year because you had to use it or lose it.
This may be the first day of the entire year I don't technically have anything I have to do.
Yep. So you need to enjoy that tomorrow.
I'm going to try to not make myself something to do.
On New Year's Day, we are actually going to have some friends over. Two other couples are coming over, and I traditionally, and I don't know if everybody else is this way, but I grew up with the traditional meal on New Year's Day of black-eyed peas, greens. I always do turnip greens, and I usually we usually either grill pork chops. Years ago, I used to fry pork chops, but I don't do that anymore. We usually grill pork chops, but I don't think I have ever.
I'm so thankful they get us fried pork chops at work.
I don't know that I have ever skipped or not had black eyed peas and greens on New Year's Day.
Yeah. And because of all of this prep, this is the fullest that our cupboard and freezer has looked in about a year.
It's been a while.
Because I opened it up to put something in there. I was like, ooh, it's kind of full. This
So
is,
yeah, we're gonna cook. I'm gonna cook a big meal
yeah,
on New Year's Day.
yeah.
We're gonna do black eyed peas and rice, turnip greens and cornbread, macaroni and cheese, and you're gonna grill some pork chops. I have
Yes,
some friends over,
yes.
so looking forward to that.
Center cut pork chops. Yeah,
Probably play some games. I think the magnetic game will be here by then, right?
it will.
Cool.
I can't see anybody being competitive at that.
Yeah, yeah.
The fun to me, the fun part about playing the games was like introducing some of our nieces to games that we play with our grandson, like the Who Is It game.
Yeah.
It's a two-player game. It's got these little cards you flip up, and you have to guess who the other person has drawn as a person. You get these little cards, and anyway, you ask questions. You know, is your person this? Is your person that? And then you put the things down. And you have to guess. And it was fun to see them play it and get into it just as much as you and I were into it when we first
Yeah, I
opened
mean,
the game and
and the
started
one
playing with it.
I don't know. I just think that and my family has not always done games or anything. We've always gotten together. I've moved to South Carolina in 1990. So do the math. I've been here for a while. I mean, I've been here for a long time. So I have drove back and forth.
35 years?
I have, I've always gone home after
Yeah.
Christmas. I mean, I want to say many years ago, I might have spent a Christmas day or so at my parents' when maybe my son was younger. But for the most part, we've always, for at least 20 plus years, we've always gotten together, my family, the Saturday after Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
It's just been something that we kind of landed on years ago. It works well for us because everybody's done with with their kids. Yeah, everybody, all of us have kids now. So
Yeah.
you kind of want to be at home so that Santa can come the night, Christmas Eve night, and you can do your cookies and traditions, things like that. So my parents were more than gracious to and understanding and knew that we needed to build those memories with our own children. So they had no problem at all with us taking the Saturday after Christmas. And by that time, all the holiday parties are done and it's worked well. We usually decide ahead of time what we're going to have. By that time, everybody is so tired of turkey and ham and those type things that we do different foods every year. We try something different. But the games is kind of one of those things we just in the last maybe 4 or 5 years gotten into. And the whole crowd does not necessarily play, but I have kind of learned over the years, if you'll watch, there's some of us that play every single game that's played, and then there's others that don't play any games, but they definitely they like to watch.
Yeah.
And
Blank Slate, I think Blank Slate's a good game for a crowd because you like 8 people can play at the same time. And it moves pretty quickly. The hard part again is taking score, which you volunteered to do this time.
We thoroughly enjoyed a new game this year that we had with the headband game.
The headband game was pretty cool.
Yeah, that worked well.
I didn't do well my first time. It took I was the last person the first time.
But that one got a lot of laughs.
I had a simple animal and I couldn't figure it out. But yeah, the headband game was cool. That was really fun. This year, one of our nieces, Kaylee, asked me if I knew how to play gin rummy, and I hadn't played rummy since I was a kid. I was trying to think back. My grandmother had taught me how to play, but I think the last time I played, I was in high school.
But now, is that a 4-person game?
It can be whoever.
Or can it be more than 4
people?
It can
be more than 4
because
people.
Actually 4 of you played that game for quite some time.
Well,
I was extremely shocked.
You tend to play up to 500 points. And
okay.
And as I was driving home, I was thinking, I don't know if I scored that correctly because I don't remember exactly how to score it, and I may have done it wrong. But
y'all had a good time.
We had fun playing it. Kaylee and Emma Grace both got into it. Blake had never played. He ended up coming in second, and he was a round behind us. He didn't even start until we'd already played one round.
Yeah.
And he was like, I want to play. And he was really good at it. He caught on quick.
But now the cool thing I like about the fact
that everybody had fun. Everybody was into it. And
that's the one thing that I've thoroughly enjoyed about the last few years of making it a point to bring the games. And
Right.
I'm usually the one that brings the majority of the games. But then every now and then, somebody like my sister this year threw in a new game.
Yeah.
And so every year, now the younger, I wouldn't say we have some that are even younger, but like the teenagers or
Yeah.
the my nieces that 9 times out of 10 will sit on their phones. They're more involved in social media.
Well, we're getting them involved. It's kind of like it's to
Exactly.
me, it's kind of like playing with the grandson. It's hey, let's do this together. Let's have an
Right.
interactive thing we do together. And if the game's fun and you have fun doing it, it just makes
Yeah.
everything that much more fun. And also, we brought little things for like our great nephew to play with his dad. The little dinosaur shooting game thing was
Yeah.
cool for him to play. We could hear that going on downstairs.
I mean,
You
anytime
know,
I mean, to me, that is the most, that just get any type of games
yeah.
is a good way to get the whole crowd, whether they're playing or watching. It's a lot of
Well, and your
laughs.
mom played too.
Yeah, she does.
She wanted to play a little bit, so
She doesn't play as many rounds as she used to, but
yeah.
she definitely checks in on what's going on. I
Hmm.
mean, and even my pa, he acts like he's not interested at all in playing. No, got no interest, but yet he'll be the one that walks up to the table and stands there for the longest, paying attention to what's going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I really think that it's a good way to get everybody involved.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, we've done a little bit of more of that here with friends and with our grandson, and
Yeah.
I think all of that's kind of helped too. Um, yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, anytime you can get the younger generation away from video games
Yeah.
or phones in general.
Well, and it's all like it's different when I kind of look at the video games thing as something they do solo, and then you want them to participate in you and interact with you, and the game kind of forces them to do that when you're playing together on a board game. And when you're doing it, you get the add jokes and humor
Yeah.
and
I
kind
mean,
of
and our
and touch
oldest,
base with each other and
yeah,
talk and just
our
it
oldest
kind of
grandson
makes
is 8,
conversation easier.
and he absolutely loves board games.
Yeah.
Um, I don't really know how we got into them to start off with. I'm not sure because
Presents.
we've been doing it for a
We got
while
presents.
now, and we love it. He loves it.
It really started with Lori Shaw with that sequence game, I think.
Sequence for kids.
Yep.
That's a great game for
And I
kids.
think wasn't it the Candyland Junior or Disney Candyland or something like
Yeah,
that? It was
Candyland is a
one of
younger
those
game
that was
anyway.
like one of the first couple of games that he was playing, and he got into it. And so yeah, it just kind of grew from that,
Yeah.
I think.
I'm also a firm believer in not letting a child win,
Right.
making
If you're
it,
gonna beat me, you better beat me for real.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
because I don't know, whenever we first started playing board games with our grandson, our oldest grandson, I it was we kind of went through that first few games of him getting a little wanted to get a little upset when he didn't win. And
Yeah.
we just, as calmly and quietly and as we could, I've tried to explain to him that it's not about winning. And if you constantly lose, I mean, if I sit here and constantly lose and let you win, then what fun is it for me?
Yeah.
And if the other person is not having fun or the other people are not having fun, then they're not going to want to play. And I said, you don't want to lose all the time, do you? And he said, no. And I said, well, the other person feels the same way.
Sure.
And games should be you should have fun, and you should be competitive, but you should lose just as graciously as you win.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with talking a little bit of smack whenever you do win, or hey, I'm coming after you, which he can definitely do that.
Yeah.
But he has learned that if he loses, he will say, yeah, let's play that again because I'm going to get you next time.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that at his age, he doesn't pitch a fit when he loses a game. He doesn't say, no, I don't want to play that because I'm not going to win. He doesn't go into it with that kind of attitude.
Well, even last night playing and Landry came up and joined us a little bit. I think he's going to get into it too. I think playing with his knee.
Yeah, like I
They're
say,
going to get into playing games too, just like that. I mean, it is fun. I mean, and it's important to learn those lessons about how to win and lose gracefully because you're going to have that in life no matter what. And games are a way of doing that. It's also a good way of communicating and learning what you can say and what you can't say along the way. And you better learn that with your family before you learn it with somebody who's going to
Very
punch you in the
true.
face.
Yeah,
Because at
very
least your family be like, hey, that's not okay. Don't
yeah,
say that.
yeah, very true.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Well,
it's been busy. I am, still got Christmas decorations to put up or start putting up next week, next weekend. But I'm so ready for things to.
I don't know about you, but I'm tired.
I am too.
I feel like we've just we're always just going and going and going and going, and we're like never catching up. And I feel like we're kind of like as the year as 2024 is gearing down and we're getting ready for 2025. I feel like we're finally catching up on a few things.
But God, why are the holidays? Even though I'm a person that tries to shop early, what it is such a rat race?
It is.
I mean, of course, I have one set of family that lives 4 hours away, but
Yeah.
still, I mean, and we do that after Christmas every
Yeah.
year, but it still seems like you just go so wide open. And I don't know if
Well, and it's
it's,
also like pressure and expectations and what do I do to make this person happy? And I want to show them I love them, but also I can't afford that. Or, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that are tied into that. And there's a lot of people that go through severe depression during this time of the year because of that kind of feeling of, I want to help, but I can't, or I want to be able to do for them, but I can't. And, some people don't have family around them to even have that with, and they get really depressed during this time of the year. I mean, we talk about it a lot in the military, even and coming out is what happens when you come home and your family's gone and you're here by yourself and you have to start over. How do you get through the holidays the right way? And there's a lot of helplines and 1-800 lines out there for people who want to talk to people during that time. And it's also a good time to reach out to those friends you haven't heard from in a while and go, hey, how you doing? You want to hang out? Sometimes just a hey, you want to hang out is a lot. Um, and maybe it's come over and let's play a few games. I mean, again, that interaction
yeah,
goes a long way. Maybe it's a meal. Maybe you share a meal with somebody. So
we
yeah,
should have some good football games coming up,
we do have
right?
some good football games on Tuesday. The Gamecocks are playing on the bowl game, the Cheez-Its Bowl. That'll be fun.
What I wonder if they'll have. There was a game that was on last night. I heard
Yeah,
somebody say that the Pop Tart
the
Bowl,
Pop Tart Bowl.
there is really a Pop Tart Bowl.
Yeah,
And I heard somebody in the room say
the field itself, the outline looked like sprinkles from the Pop Tart.
that would be too. I didn't even pay attention to that, but I did hear somebody say that because I think me and my sister and her grandson was actually playing a
That was
game.
the North Carolina. I think it was the North Carolina Yukon Bowl, and Yukon ended up winning. Um, yeah, the ending. I saw a highlight where the ending there was a Pop Tart mascot person who had like a cellophane wrap on the outside, pulls the wrap off, and goes, does the little thing, and it's a big square Pop Tart looking thing.
Are you kidding?
And at the very end of one of the end zones, it ran up and it jumped inside of this box, and the box lowered down like a toaster, and then an actual cooked Pop Tart that looks like him slid out of the bottom,
Holy crap! I gotta find that
and they
on
all
the. I've got to find that on the internet.
and they
I
all
gotta see
they
that.
all came up and they broke off pieces of the thing to eat it. I was like, that is too cool.
So it was a real Pop Tart at the
Yeah,
end.
it was a real pop. It was like a big giant cake Pop Tart thing that comes out like a cooked Pop Tart. Like he was the
Oh
one,
yeah, I gotta find.
hey,
I
and then
gotta
goes
find
down to
that
the thing.
video. I
Yeah,
gotta find that video.
yeah, it's too cool. So yeah, Google that. I watched that and I was like, that's pretty clever. I like that.
So now, okay, Pop Tart Bowl. That's new.
Yep.
Do they still have the traditional?
I don't
What I
know.
always grew up with, like the Rose Bowl,
Your guess is as good as mine.
the Sugar Bowl. I
I
mean,
I think they just have sponsorship names now.
oh, okay, that's
I
that.
mean, Charles and I were talking about this the other day. There's a Liberty Bowl, but the bowl has always been called the Liberty Bowl, but it was sponsored by somebody else. And yet there was Liberty Insurance was sponsoring a different bowl. And he was like, well, they missed the branding there. They should have sponsored the Liberty Bowl.
Hmm.
But he was like, how much does it cost to actually sponsor a bowl? And what does that get you? Like, we looked up one of the bowls we were watching, and to be a sponsor of that one, I think it was the first one in North Carolina. He's like, okay, for this one, it says to have the thing named after you is like $4 to $7 million.
Oh yeah, I would think it would be super
And he was
expensive.
like, holy crap, how do you, or one of them was the Bad Boy Lawnmowers sponsored one, and their bowl was like $10 million. And I was like, how do you justify $10 million? Are you hoping to sell that much more lawnmowers to make up that $10 million? Or does having your name by the naming give you the rights to whatever the bowl makes from media and everything else. I wonder what the breakdown of that is.
I have no
I
idea.
don't think there's anybody that listens to this podcast that can tell me what that is. But because he was like, "Hey, I could actually do West Talent Group bowl," and I was like, "I don't think so."
We know we have two listeners, your mom
Yeah,
and our soon to be daughter-in-law. I
yeah,
mean, yeah, they're actually obligated. They have to listen.
they have to
I
listen.
mean, yeah, they
It's
have
in
to
a
listen. It's in
contract.
the contract. Yeah, they signed the
Yeah,
contract.
yeah. We know you're
I
out
actually
there.
listened, and I asked a question this morning while I was trying to keep you awake while you were driving, and I was completely shocked
Why?
because
Ask the question.
do you listen to your own podcast?
No,
Okay,
no, I
I
can't.
do.
I can't.
You can't. Why?
I can't because I hear my voice all the time.
Yeah, so do I.
Fair enough. I know you got to be sick of it. You're like, oh God, he doesn't shut up. I hear him all the time. No, I mean, listen,
I actually do listen, and the reason I've always listened,
well, because
and
you're the
don't get me,
executive producer.
I've listened to all of yours. I mean, I may have missed one or two in there through all of these episodes.
I know you missed the 5 hour one.
Oh, most definitely.
No
I
one,
skipped that one
no,
intentionally. No one listened to that one.
well, a few hundred people did apparently because it keeps going up in ratings.
They had to have just clicked on it and exited out. So
No,
I'm
they're
not,
listening.
I'm
It's
not
a
sure
two-parter,
why.
and they're listening to all of it. Weirdly
But
enough,
no, oddly enough, I listened to it to try to learn from it. As
what?
far as,
You're listening and learning from me?
well, okay, I actually was on TikTok. It's been a while back,
What's
and
TikTok?
well, yeah, sorry, I was on the internet.
The Tiki Talk.
I was on the internet, and there was a murder trial that was actually televised. And not that I didn't watch the whole thing or anything like that,
How does
but
this tie back to us?
it does. It does. Look, if you'll just give me
Okay.
a minute.
Okay.
The judge at the end, before they asked the jury for their verdict, he made a comment that he thanked everybody in the courtroom and on the jury for allowing the cameras in the courtroom. And apparently, it's not something they normally do. They don't normally televise a whole trial, but this one was televised from the beginning all the way through. I want to say it was like 12 days of testimony for whatever. And he made a comment whenever he thanked everybody for their patience and all that kind of stuff for working with the cameras. He said, I know that we all have realized just how many times we say and he's so honestly, that's why I listen to your podcast, and now I'm doing more of these podcasts with you. Is it has helped me be more conscious of
being a public speaker,
of how I say things, as far as as far as being able to be understood when I say a certain word, because
that's a good point.
I do sound so country.
No,
I do.
No,
oh, come on!
I love it.
Don't you hear the cornbread?
I love it
falling out of my mouth.
I love it. There's certain things you say I never want you to stop saying. I love it.
But it has definitely made me more aware of how many times I say, and those kind of things.
Sure.
And I know for a fact that when you started doing this podcast, you and I actually talked about that, because I do listen to each one of the podcasts, even when you've done them alone for so many years.
What's really crazy is you're right. By doing this, you do pay attention to the way you speak more. It is conscionable because you get people that say, "Hey, I heard this," and do you know you say this a lot, and things like that. But also, you hear it in other people when they speak.
Oh, most definitely.
Because you know that it's a tick, and you know that it's coming up, and when they do it and they don't realize they're doing it, you're like, you just said the word "and" like 20 times within a minute.
The word
or the word
or the word
or like when I was younger, I used to say "fixing." I'm fixing to go to the store. I'm fixing to do this. And a friend that moved here from New York was like, "Why do you keep saying the word fixing?" And I was like, "What?" She was like, "You keep saying this word. What are you fixing?" And I was like, what are you talking about?" I didn't realize I did it. But it's little hooks in the way you talk that becomes what you think is normal with your friends or with your family. And then when you start speaking on a regular basis, you start picking up on things where you go, I could clean that up a little bit. There's
And I
something I could
don't
do
think
better.
it is like you said, it is, you don't even know that you're doing it
Right.
because it is part of your personality.
Plus,
When you
this,
re-listen to yourself speak, then you pick up on a lot of things
yeah,
that are so it's made me very aware of
maybe
my
I don't listen to myself because of doing YouTube since 2011. I've heard enough of me during edits where I go, okay, this I need to clean up. This I need to
well,
clean
see,
up.
I don't edit any of this.
Right.
Maybe that's why I
Well, I don't edit
listen.
any of the podcast anymore unless someone says something that I go, "Ooh, that's controversial." I write down the timestamp so I can know if I need to remove something I can, or if they say something that's like curse words, I gotta like take that out or clean it up a little bit so that I don't get flagged.
Yeah, true.
But I don't listen to my own because honestly, there's just too much information. There's too much talking. I talk a lot.
Yes, I know.
Well, as a job, I talk too. So I'm oftentimes speaking in front of people, teaching classes and things of that nature. And I think this helps me do that, and that helps me do this because
Do you think that being able, because I know what you're doing at work, you've not been doing it for a very long time. It's not what you started off doing with this job, and now you've kind of transitioned. Although, I mean, you've been there a long time. You've been there 17 years,
mhm,
but in the last, what, 2 years, maybe definitely the last year, you have found yourself up in front of people
on a regular
on a
basis.
regular basis. Do
Yeah,
you think being doing the podcast all these years has helped that?
absolutely. Yeah.
I don't think you were ever a shy person. I
Oh,
mean,
yes, I was.
no, well, not since
Yes.
I've met you.
No, not since you've met me.
Because
No.
anybody that will get up and sing karaoke, not drunk,
Right.
is not a shy person.
Well, that was pure youth and Marine Corps arrogance.
Because I would never, even to this day, I would, if you ever see me singing karaoke, there's definitely something wrong.
You could do it.
No, I'm not going to.
You could do
I
it.
don't have any plans to. Let's put it like that.
We should rent one. We should get a thing for the pool house, and then when we're in the pool, we should be practicing karaoke.
But
You and the
back to what
girls
we were talking
can
about,
practice.
there's no doubt about the fact that you are extremely comfortable in speaking in front of people.
Yes and no. Yes and no. So
What if it's a top? What's the difference?
knowing my topic.
Okay, well, that would be anybody in general.
Yeah. I mean, like I've had times where people say, "Hey, talk about this." And I go, I don't know how to speak on this because I don't know anything about it. Now, there are times where I've been asked to speak in front of large groups of people and they go, "Are you nervous?" I said, "No, I already know the information."
Mm-hmm.
That's just a fact. When you know the information and you've done it enough times in repetition, it is just I am sharing the information that I know with you and I'm helping you learn. And then when it comes to that, you don't think about yourself at all. You take yourself out of the scenario completely and all you do is tell people about the thing they need to know. And with mine, it could be it's normally safety related. So my big concern is I would rather you know all the information and get an impact from this conversation than get hurt. Whatever it takes for me to get your attention, for you to learn something and memorize it, I'm going to do that. And emotion, whether people realize it or not, is tied into things like your memory. So things you remember the most is when you've been happy, sad, upset, whatever. Your memories are tied into emotions. Women tend to remember conversations more because they have emotions in conversations, whereas guys have to be impacted. You have to get their attention some way. So, you know, you ask people, hey, what do you remember most? Which conversations do you remember the most? It's the ones where people have made you upset or extremely happy or you've cried or whatever. Those are the things you remember. So when I'm teaching, I'm trying to tie in those things so that it makes that memory that much more impactful. So hopefully it can save them from getting hurt.
Yeah, I mean, as a person who's been to multiple regional type meetings and workshops over the years, there are definitely some people that
Good practice.
are better. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't think it's practice because there's just some people that have a knack for it.
Yeah.
Your mom
Yeah.
is one person.
Yeah.
I want to say the first time I ever heard your mom speak was at a function at her church. It was like a ladies' gathering that she invited me to, and I went to it.
Hmm.
And I mean, she's killer at that. She is amazing to stand in front of people. Now, of course, in her field, she's in the medical field. She's very, very knowledgeable, and she gets asked to do a lot of speaking engagements. And I think the reason there is, I'm sure she's up against, or she's doing that with people that are just as knowledgeable as she is in her field when it comes to
Sometimes
choosing who you choose to be the headliner or the main
the
speaker
communicator. Yeah.
for a certain gathering. But to me, people would hands down pick your mom, because to me there are a certain set of people that just has they hold your interest
Right.
when they're on stage or when they're in front of you speaking. And like I say, I have been to many meetings like that, where I've been to day long meetings or classes where you would have somebody facilitating the course or the class or the meeting or whatever that knows the information, very knowledgeable about what they're talking about, but they just did not deliver it the way it needed to be delivered to
Yeah.
hold their audience's attention. And then you have the other people that, like your mom, and I used to work with a gentleman that he was amazing with that. It would not make any difference what he was talking about.
Hmm.
He could keep the room's attention with absolutely no problem whatsoever. And I mean, to me, those are the people that when they tell you, hey, you've got to go sit for 3 hours and listen to this person speak, there are a few
Yeah.
people that I would not mind that at all. It is all about the speaker. It's all
Yeah.
about the person that's delivering the message.
True. I agree. I agree. And I mean, I've been to some speaking events where I feel like I'm pretty good at doing a job doing what I'm doing, and then I hear someone do it that's better, and I go, "Ooh, that's a neat little trick." You pick up on little tactics along the way, and you learn from each other. Hopefully, I mean that's kind of my goal. Um, my goal is to eventually be better than them if I can. Um, but there's days you're not feeling it. There's days that you may be under the weather. I mean, I've gone to do some things sometimes, and have a sinus infection or just have a funk going on where I'm just like, I just can't get my thoughts together. And it feels clunky, and it feels clunky. And sometimes the best thing to do is just address it and be like, I'm sorry, I'm off a little bit today. Normally we talk about this, but you find a way to hook yourself back into it. But you learn tricks along the way the more you do it. And because I have to do it so much is why I'm doing that. Mom's the same way. And the funny part about her is I watched it happen in real time where as a nurse, she was told, you can't do this because you're just a nurse. And that stems from something when she was younger of being told, you can't do this because you're a girl. And there was always this chip on her shoulder about people telling her she couldn't do something because of dot, dot, dot. And she told me along the way, she said, I realized that the one thing I could do is I could outwork people. I could be smarter than them because I could put in the work and I could learn the things and I could know what I'm talking about. And she got to that point and they said, you can't do that because you don't have this degree. And she said, okay. And she went out and got that
Yeah.
degree. And every step along the way, it was people telling her she couldn't have a say in how patients were given care because they didn't think that she deserved the right to be able to say it. And she was absolutely 100% right in her care
Yeah. I mean,
mentality. And she was like, okay, if I need to have this thing to check your box, then I'll do that. But in the meanwhile, I'm going to change the way we do things as a whole.
I mean, I agree with all of that.
Yeah.
But I honestly think
But all
that,
of that it makes her stronger when it comes to, hey, let's talk about this thing. Because automatically she's got an arsenal of conversations, not only with peers, but with people who have told her no along the way.
yes, but I think that she also is surrounded by people that are just as well educated as she is,
Right.
but she is often chosen or asked to be the representative or speaker for a on a particular topic
Yeah.
or for a particular group of people because she does it so well.
The funny part was when she got the award at Francis Marion for like an achievement, you know, I forget what it was, the big achievement award. She said, I'm actually more nervous about this than I was speaking in front of Congress. And I was like, why? She says, because I've talked about me. And I was like, yeah, but you know you better than anybody else. And she was like, yeah, but there's things I can't talk about. And I was like, okay, well, talk about the things you want to talk about. Like, seriously, you can talk about anything. You could be like, listen, it was a hard road. This is what I learned. I've had a lot of help along the way. And she's like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. But
Well, I mean, there's no doubt about the fact that I personally feel like me re-listening to these podcasts has helped me communicate better. It has definitely made me more aware of some of the things that come out of my mouth.
yeah,
So I do listen to them.
okay.
Do I listen to them first? Because no, I don't. Because
The
I
hard part is listening to yourself in real time and like adjusting real time.
What do you mean?
Well, okay, so there's sometimes where I may get into a conversation like this and I'll have a pattern of speech where I go, this isn't going anywhere. And I have to realize I have to pivot. Like it's just you get into a pattern of things of conversation. You go, is this interesting to anybody other than me? And you have to kind of pull yourself out of it and pivot sometimes and go in a completely different direction. Like
Yeah,
talking about aliens or, you know,
yeah.
vaccines or whatever.
I
RFK.
guess I guess I'm not like I say I would hope that people would realize that
Because
communicating is the key to everything.
yeah,
I mean, it honestly is. It's the key to learning more about your it's about learning about I mean, it's about learning about your own career.
yeah.
It's about learning about your children.
What you want to
You,
achieve in life, what you don't
yeah,
want.
I mean, it is all about communicating. And if I mean,
When I was younger, the thing I heard the most was the biggest problem in relationships is people don't communicate. And after I got divorced the first time, I read books. In every single book, it was like, you should communicate more. And I'm like, I feel like I'm communicating all the time. What the heck am I not communicating about? And it's not what you're communicating about, it's how you communicate.
right.
So I had to learn to argue differently. I had to learn to have opinions and not realize that this is from a selfish point of view. I have to own my own stuff. There's a lot of that. Um, but in like you said, in communication though, you learn along the way of what's working, what doesn't work. Are you achieving a goal? Did you go towards the goal you wanted, or did you just fold into someone else's goal? So there's a lot of that, but these conversations do help a lot with that. As they do with the more people you talk to, which is why I think it's really important for people to be in communication with other people a lot. The more people you are in communication with, the easier life seems. I mean, it may seem frantic at the time because you're learning different people's speech patterns and the things that are important to them and how to navigate that. But the more people that I come into contact with, the more I realize we have more in common than we realize. And everybody has common goals. Everybody has things they share. Their concerns about their family, their concerns about where they want to take their family on vacation, what their goals are, what's important to them, what do they fear. I mean, you know, we're all aiming towards a goal. That's to enjoy some of this life before we die. So, in the meanwhile, what's important to you? How do we share this experience? Can I help you? Is this something you can help me with? Do we help each other? How does this work? And I mean,
Very true.
all of this kind of goes in hand. But in the meanwhile, I can't go back and listen to myself because it makes me crazy.
Hmm. Oh, don't worry. I'll be more than happy to point out what I think you need to change.
I mean, listen, when I started with this podcast, I said to you, I want to do this podcast because I find myself saying the same things over and over again with every person I ride with, where we share a lot in common. And I feel like I'm just saying the same things over and over. And I want to do something where I can say it out loud and have it recorded and have it shared so that it's easier to share as a thought and maybe have those people on those conversations and let's grow our thoughts from there and grow our community from there. And I think we've done that. I mean, this is sort of like a year end closing. This is the end of 2024. I think we've done that.
Wow, these years are flying by quickly.
Yeah,
They do fly by so quickly.
2025.
And everybody says that the older you get,
The faster it seems to go.
it does. Well, not only that, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I always assumed, and maybe that's the problem. The word assume, we all know what that means, what it breaks down to anyway. I just always assumed that the older you got, the more,
The easier it would get.
yeah, yeah, maybe that's the word I'm thinking of, or I mean, I do realize that you don't let the small stuff bother you like you do when you're younger. You realize that sweating the small stuff is not going to gain, it's not going to
Yeah.
get you anywhere.
But then you have your children or people that are younger than you bring up a problem and a solution, and immediately you already see the pitfalls that they're going to run into, and you're like, that's a terrible idea. Why would you do that? And you want to share with them all your knowledge, but they're not going to listen to you
No.
until they make their own mistakes.
Or they're,
I mean, you try to be like, I wouldn't do that if I were you.
I wouldn't
Well,
say
why
make their
not?
own mistakes. You do
Yeah,
make mistakes, but there is no way to gain any knowledge or any experience unless you do it. I
yeah,
mean, you can't just say, "Hey, I was told that if I mean, nobody takes that advice,
no,
especially not children, not your children or your grandchildren. I
no,
mean, they don't because we did not.
right,
We did not. They did not. It's not, that is nothing new. It is nothing new. I mean, so I don't know. It's like I said, I just thought I had assumed that the older I got, the easier it would get. And it's not. I mean, we still deal with the exact same things that we did when we were 20 years younger. You
yeah,
know, it's just we look at them different. I mean, I still find myself being or saying, why am I running around like a chicken with my head chopped off? Why am I running around like my pants are on fire? Because everything's got to be done right now. And
yeah.
I thought that the older I got, that mentality would not be there anymore, but it still is.
Well, I had that conversation with Dad not too long ago, and he said that's because you're not retired yet. He said when you're retired, you have time for everything. You have time. He said the problem is you don't have money. But you have time. He said if I go to work on something and I run out of time, I go, well, I guess I'll do it tomorrow. He's like, I'm not like I got to get this done because I got to go to work and I got to get this done before work and I got to do this done before work and oh, and I go to work, then I'll go home and I got to do this. And he's like, if I have something to do, I go, yeah, I'll work on that tomorrow. And you work on it for a while and then you don't.
Yeah,
And
I
he's like,
know. I mean, I find myself coming home from work and I don't know, maybe I've just thought about it more just recently because the holidays are so hectic. And
yeah,
I'm, one minute I'm getting off work at 4 o'clock, and then the next thing I know, I'm like, it's 8:30 already.
yeah.
Where did those few hours go?
Well, and if you think about 2024, we've done a lot of improvements around here that physically have been done just from sweat equity, whether it's changing out toilets or replacing pipes or cleaning out pipes or doing work to vehicles. I mean, we've worked on almost every vehicle we own this past year in some capacity, whether it's brake jobs or whatever.
You have.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Hmm.
There's been a lot that's been done
Sounds like you need to hire a mechanic.
that we've saved money on by doing it ourselves. And with Danny's help, thank goodness we have a Danny Shaw. I mean, but it's been a lot of sweat equity
Oh,
that have saved
speaking
us
of,
money.
last week we talked about two things that I wanted to touch on, kind of like follow up on today.
The
The
Ticketmaster
ticket,
scenario,
still no
still
money
no money.
from
Okay.
the Ticketmaster. And okay, we talked about
You learned from Charles that
I did find out from somebody, yeah, that does this kind of stuff himself, that we will get the insurance money back, because that was a conversation that you and I had
yeah.
last week. I can't remember if I think it was yesterday was a week ago that I found out that the tickets had been canceled. So it's been a week yesterday and still no money credited back to our credit card that I used to pay for those tickets and insurance. I'm not really sure exactly how long I'm going to give it. I can't make up my mind if I want to make a phone call to our credit card company tomorrow, or if I want to wait to the next Monday. And because I know the minute I call our credit card company, they will give us the money back and they will take it up with Ticketmaster.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying hard here to look at the big picture, and
Or like he said, is this Ticketmaster's thing to pay you back, or is this the Ovens Arena that has to pay them back to pay us back?
I could care less as long as
I
it gets
know,
credited back to the credit
I
card.
know, but he's
And
looking at this from an ownership standpoint of how he would handle it if it were done.
he's a promoter.
He's
I
a
mean,
promoter,
but
so
I mean, how, I don't know. Do I start counting 30 days last Saturday?
right. Do you
So
wait? Do you wait to get to February and go, oh no, my money still isn't here?
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think I'll make it that long.
I don't know.
I just don't think I
I don't
will.
think you can sleep that long.
I, what do you
It'll
mean?
keep you up at night.
No, not keep me
Yes, it
up at
will.
night, but I mean, I'm not going to let it, I'm not going to forget about it. You can rest assured.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it here. Dolores will never forget.
Not about that money to Ticketmaster. The money's coming from somewhere.
It's not just that. She never forgets.
That it's not. I'm going to get that money back. And the other thing that we talked about, I can't remember if it was last Sunday or not, that we talked about the transmission on my car.
Yeah, that was last week. We
That
talked about it.
that I'm not having, never had any issues with it. That was not the point.
Yeah,
The point was I got a little aggravated
because nobody would work
because
on it.
nobody would work
And
on it,
Nissan told you tough.
including the Nissan dealership.
Nissan
They
was
said,
like, we ain't touching it.
Nissan said, sorry, but nope,
Yep.
we don't want your money. So
Well, and I made a YouTube video where I did it myself, and it was super easy. I told you I wanted to film you doing it so you could curse the entire time about how easy this was and how sorry everybody else was, because you'd have been livid how easy it was.
no, I will be up under a car if it is stranded me on the side of the road. I mean,
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying for video purposes, it would have been funny.
yeah, it would, no. I'm glad you were able to do it.
Yeah.
And as of right now, I don't want to jinx anything. Everything seems to be fine. We drove it 4 hours down to Georgia and 4 hours back. And so far everything's good. And it was just like it was before, which it was not giving me any trouble. I do feel a lot better knowing that the transmission has been serviced.
Yeah, the fluid looks better,
So
and you actually have enough fluid now instead of the 9.3 quarts you're supposed to have. It only had 5, which was shocking. But yeah, so yeah, good fluid. It's good. Yay.
so I'm hoping that I don't have to call the Nissan dealership. I'm not going to say never. Just hope I don't have to. But glad that one's in the books for now.
Yeah. Well, there's that.
There's that.
So 2025, we've done a lot of things with our vehicles. We've done a lot of things with our plumbing.
You keep going back to that.
We even had a new heat pump put in. We did a lot this year.
Yeah.
I
we did.
mean, if you think about it, I mean, I know it feels like we can't seem to get ahead, but we've also done a lot of things to kind of make improvements along the way too. I mean, a new toilet's definitely an improvement, right?
Yes.
A new heat pump's definitely an improvement.
Yes.
A new I mean, we've done a lot of new
I mean, we don't want to bring
things.
up the fact that the toilet had absolutely nothing wrong with it until you broke it.
No, it was leaking. The whole thing started with you going, "There's water." Remember?
Yeah.
Okay, that's how it
And
started.
then you cracked the tank.
I listen. I didn't crack the tank. The tank had enough abuse, and it gave up the ghost.
Okay, we'll
That's
go with
all
that.
it was. The
We'll
tank
go,
was like,
we'll go with that.
"I can't do it anymore, boss. I'm out," and it pulled its own ripcord.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Whatever you got to say to make yourself feel good at.
2025, hopefully, we'll get to work towards some projects we want to do, not things we have to do. And again, that was my point.
Okay.
My hope is that 2025 is things we want to do, like our closet.
Well,
I
like I
think
say,
that's
next
something we want to
podcast, that's
do.
what we'll have to do. Is this coming week, let's give it some thought on.
I don't want to think that hard.
Oh, come on.
Listen, I've gotten by this far on not thinking. Can I just wing it some more?
Well, tomorrow's your day off. Tomorrow's your day off. I'm gonna let you not think tomorrow.
Okay.
You can have tomorrow with not thinking.
I might. You know what I might do tomorrow? I might actually finish the Zelda game that I've been playing for over a
Well,
year.
there you go. It's
I've
good to
been
have.
putting it off.
It's good to have goals.
I've been putting it off just because I don't want to finish it because it's so beautiful. But maybe I'll play it and finish it. I don't know. We'll see.
There you go.
We'll see. I did watch Squid Games, by the way.
It's good to have goals.
And that was okay. It was okay. But yeah.
Yeah. So
You
okay.
got anything to promote?
No. It's all good.
I'm gonna wrap this up.
That's works for
I
me.
think we're petering out here.
It works for me.
Yeah. Okay. Hey everybody, Happy New Year's. Uh hope your 2024 was just as great as ours. We've had a lot happen this year. New grandson, that's pretty awesome. Um, lots of projects completed, and yeah, been a good year.
You want to say then you want to say that about the toilet one more time, don't
I no, I wasn't going to bring up the toilet again. Why would you bring up the toilet again? That's like the fourth time you brought up the toilet since I brought up the toilet. She keeps saying toilet. Anyway, don't make it weird. Thank you to everybody who's watched the YouTube channel and participated in some of our polls that we've put out. I have done some polls and I've had some participation along the way. So thank you. And the comments, appreciate it. And hope everybody's doing well. And Happy New Year.
Yeah. Happy New Year, y'all.
And don't forget to cue the cow.
Cue the cow. Moo, baby.